Hello everyone, welcome back to Agentic RAG from scratch. In this series, we are building a production-grade Agentic RAG system from scratch. This is episode 8. In the previous episode, we have replaced in-memory saver with PostgreSQL database as a checkpointer. If you have missed it, the link will be in the description. Please check out. In this episode, we are going to implement a very important concept, human-in-the-loop workflows. Specifically, we'll build a customer service slot booking system where the agent interacts with the user, requests additional input when needed, and completes the booking flow seamlessly. Welcome back to the Building SaaS channel. Let's get started. Let's first walk through the architecture of what's happening behind the scene. As shown in the workflow diagram, the system follows a structured loop between UI, API, and LLM. Here is how it works. When a user sends a message from UI, it goes to API. The API calls the LLM. Now LLM decides, should it respond directly or does it need to make a tool call? And here we come into two cases. Case 1 where no user input is required and case 2 where user input is required. If a tool call does not require user input, the tool is executed immediately. The result is sent back to the LLM. LLM formats the response and response is streamed back to UI. But if the tool requires user input, this is where things get interesting. The system interrupts the graph execution, sends the interrupt data back to UI. UI renders a custom component, waits for the user input. Once the user provides input, the input is sent back to the API with the same thread ID. The graph resumes execution, the tool is invoked with the user input, final response is generated by the LLM and streamed back. So the thread ID for the both executions need to be same for this to work. Now let's move to implementation. First, let's start with backend implementation. We will start with updating the request schema. We introduce a new parameter called resume payload. The resume payload contains action and data of type string and dictionary respectively. This will carry user input back into the system. Next, we'll handle resume logic. Inside the stream agent events, if the resume payload exists, we invoke the graph using the command with resume. We resume the graph using the same thread ID, so the system continues from the paused state instead of starting fresh. Next, we create a new tool, book service slot. This tool takes start date time and end date time and books a service for us. This is a placeholder function for now, which will just return that the service is booked. Next, we go into tool call node. If the tool is book service slot, we fetch the available slots and trigger an interrupt with the slot data. At this point, the graph execution is paused and persisted, waiting for the external input. Control goes back to UI. From there, in the stream agent events, we check if the interrupt event is present, then send an SSE event of type interrupt. Now, let's handle this on UI side. First, we'll handle the interrupt in the stream. Inside uStream.ts, we detect the event type is interrupt. Update the message state with interrupt data. Next, inside the chat message TSX, if the interrupt type is slot confirmation, we render a slot booking component. The component loops through available data, displays them in UI, and handles user selection. On click of confirm, we'll send the selected slot via send message. This becomes the resume payload. Now, let's see everything working together. Start by saying hi. The agent responds with available capabilities. Then we ask book a service slot. In the backend, it calls the tool, sends interrupt back. UI renders the slot options. User selects a slot. Then in the backend, when we send the selected slot, resumes the execution, processes the booking, and returns a confirmation. For all of this to work, the thread ID should be same. As you can see, the agent has successfully booked the slot for us. So we have successfully listed available slots, interrupt execution for user input, render a dynamic UI component, collected user input, resumed the workflow, and completed the booking. This is the human in the loop system. That's it for this video. If you found this helpful, like the video. And if you don't want to miss upcoming episodes on building agentic systems, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.